Jason Kelce, the former Philadelphia Eagles center known for his unyielding presence on the football field and his candid personality off it, has always been a figure who wears his heart on his sleeve. But in a recent appearance at the March of Dimes 43rd Sports Luncheon in New York, he delved into one of the most vulnerable chapters of his life, a profound and shattering loss that he and his wife, Kylie Kelce, endured together. This wasn't just a fleeting moment of sadness. It was a seismic event that tested the foundations of their relationship, their resilience, and their dreams of building a family. As Jason stood before an audience of supporters and fellow athletes, his voice carried the weight of memory, recounting the miscarriage they experienced in 2018, a time when grief felt like an uninvited storm cloud that refused to dissipate. To understand the depth of this revelation, it's essential to step back and consider the context of Jason and Kylie's life at that point. They had been married since 2018, a union that blended Jason's high-octane world of professional sports with Kylie's grounded, no-nonsense approach to life as a former field hockey player and podcast host. Their relationship was built on mutual respect, shared humor, and an unwavering commitment to each other, forged in the fires of public scrutiny and the relentless schedule of NFL seasons. Yet, beneath the surface of their seemingly picture-perfect life, there lay vulnerabilities that few outsiders could glimpse. The announcement of Kylie's pregnancy in 2018 was meant to be a joyous milestone, a herald of new beginnings amid Jason's grueling career demands. Instead, it became the prelude to unimaginable heartache. Jason's recollection begins with the raw immediacy of the loss itself. "I remember it just being absolutely devastating," he shared, his words hanging in the air like echoes in an empty stadium. The miscarriage struck without warning, a silent thief that robbed them of the future they had begun to envision. For Jason, a man accustomed to controlling the chaos of a 300-pound lineman charging at him during a snap, this was a loss over which he had no power. He described stepping out to his truck in the midst of practice and meetings, overwhelmed by a tide of grief that made the world blur. The football field, that sacred ground where he had always found solace and strength, suddenly felt alien. Emotions crashed over him, sorrow, helplessness, anger at the unfairness of it all. It was a moment that stripped away the armor of the athlete, leaving behind a husband grappling with the fragility of life. But in the midst of this personal maelstrom, Jason discovered something profoundly human about the sport he loved: its capacity to foster unbreakable bonds. Sports, he reflected, are more than statistics and strategies. They are a tapestry of shared struggles and triumphs that bind people together. As news of their loss rippled through the Eagles organization, Jason was met not with pity, but with a chorus of empathy from those around him. Coaches who had barked orders from the sidelines pulled him aside to share their own stories of silent suffering. Teammates, hardened by the physical toll of the game, opened up about the emotional scars they carried from similar experiences. Friends from outside the bubble of the team extended hands of solidarity, their words a balm on wounds that still bled fresh. This outpouring wasn't just comforting, it was revelatory. Jason realized that miscarriages, far from being rare anomalies, are an all-too-common thread in the fabric of family building. "There were so many people that shared with me, coaches, teammates, people within the Eagles building, friends of ours, and you really find out how prevalent this actually is, how often miscarriages happen," he explained. And yet, society often shrouds these losses in silence, treating them as taboo subjects unfit for casual conversation. The isolation that follows can be as crushing as the grief itself, turning what should be a communal mourning into a solitary vigil. Jason and Kylie's experience shattered that silence for them, but it also illuminated a broader truth. Countless couples navigate these waters alone, whispering their pain into the void rather than voicing it aloud. The support they received became a lifeline, pulling them from the depths of despair toward a horizon of healing. "That was hugely impactful for us when we were going through that situation, to realize that we were not alone in this," Jason emphasized. In the Eagles' locker room, a space typically reserved for strategy sessions and trash talk, vulnerability became the currency of connection. Stories poured forth, tales of lost pregnancies that had reshaped lives, of resilient partners who had weathered the storm together, of families that had emerged stronger from the ashes. These narratives weren't delivered with clinical detachment, they were laced with the raw honesty of those who had walked the same shadowed path. For Jason, hearing these accounts reframed his own suffering. It wasn't a unique curse but a shared human ordeal, one that demanded not just endurance but openness. Kylie's role in this journey cannot be understated. As the one who physically bore the brunt of the loss, her strength became the quiet force that anchored their recovery. Jason has often spoken of her as his rock, a woman whose fierce independence and tender heart complement his own boisterous energy. In the aftermath, they leaned into each other, navigating the labyrinth of doctor's appointments, emotional counseling, and the slow, deliberate work of rebuilding hope. Their conversations likely delved into the what-ifs and why-nots, the philosophical quandaries that accompany such tragedies. Why did this happen to them? What lessons could be gleaned from the pain? Through it all, their bond deepened, transforming grief into a catalyst for growth. The miscarriage, heartbreaking as it was, became a testament to their partnership, a reminder that love isn't diminished by loss but forged in its crucible. Fast forward to today, and the Kelce's life tells a story of triumphant renewal. They are now proud parents to 4 vibrant daughters. Wyatt, who at 6 years old already exhibits the spirited curiosity of her father. Elliot, 4, with her boundless energy that lights up any room. Bennett, 2, the mischievous explorer of the bunch. And Finley, a mere 7 months old, whose arrival marked the latest chapter in their ever-expanding family saga. Each birth was a victory, a defiant reclaiming of joy after the shadows of 2018. Wyatt's first steps echoed with the promise of futures yet to unfold. Elliot's laughter became the soundtrack to family dinners. Bennett's toddler tantrums tested and tempered their patience. And Finley's tiny coups served as a symphony of second chances. These girls aren't just children. They are living embodiments of resilience, proof that from the ruins of sorrow, beauty can bloom.